the vanishing road ghost, and other unexplained encounters. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on the bell, because tonight's cases are some of the most chilling encounters ever documented on bodycams, dashcams, and roadside surveillance. And trust me, these are the kind of clips you shouldn't watch alone. Case 1. The Child on the Midnight Highway. It was just after 11:40 p.m. when Australian driver Evan Marsh, his wife, and their teenage daughter were heading home along the Bradwell Highway outside Newcastle. It was a stretch of road they drove nearly every week, long, quiet, and uneventful. But on this night, the dashcam would capture something that still haunts Evan every time he closes his eyes. The pavement ahead was empty, illuminated only by the headlights cutting through the blue-gray night. Evan was in mid-conversation when his daughter suddenly lurched forward in her seat and shouted, "Dad, stop!" Evan slammed the brakes. Standing in the middle of the highway, barefoot, unmoving, and staring directly into the headlights, was a small child. He couldn't have been older than 7. He wore a pale blue shirt, slightly torn, and his hair looked wet as if he'd walked through rain. But it hadn't rained for hours. For a moment, no one breathed. Evan rolled down his window and called out, "Hey! Are you okay? Do you need help?" The child didn't blink, didn't flinch, just stared. His wife grabbed her phone and dialed the police immediately. Dispatch assured them a patrol car was being sent, and advised them not to approach the child directly. Within seconds, the headlights of an oncoming truck washed over the road, but when the light passed, the child was gone. Not walked away. Not run. Gone. Evan and his wife checked the roadside, the ditch, even the space underneath their vehicle. Nothing. Not a footprint, not a sound. 40 minutes later, Evan called the police again to send the dashcam footage, only to be told something impossible. There's no report of a missing child tonight, and our unit didn't find anyone on the highway. But later, when Evan posted the clip online, viewers noticed something chilling. The child's shadow didn't match the other objects on the road. It stretched in a direction the headlights couldn't have created. So, what exactly had been standing in front of the car? A lost child? A hallucination? Or something older, replaying itself on the pavement where no child should have been? Case 2. The Camper Who Wasn't Alone. In the forests outside Deschutes Ridge, Oregon, a solo backpacker named Mark Ellison documented what began as a peaceful weekend escape. His first clips showed him laughing, setting up his tent, and roasting a small meal over a burner. The sky turned dusky blue, the birds quieted, and everything seemed normal. But his night vision camera captured something he never saw. Around 12:47 a.m., the tent fabric appeared to tug inward, not violently, but as if someone pressed their palm gently from the outside. Mark whispered, "Is that the wind?" But the trees weren't moving. The forest was still. Then came footsteps. Slow. Dragged. Uneven. Mark grabbed his camera and unzipped the tent, whispering, "Hello? Someone there?" Nothing. A blue-lit emptiness. But the night vision caught movement behind him. A pale shape leaning near a tree, as if watching. He didn't see it. Not until he reviewed the footage the next day, just before he disappeared. Authorities later found his tent intact, his backpack zipped, and his camera standing upright near the fire pit. They reviewed every second of the footage. They even hiked the area in search of footprints. There were none. Some say Mark ran off into the woods. Others say he fell or got lost. But locals whisper a different story, one about the Watcher of Deschutes Ridge, a figure hikers swear they've seen standing between the trees, always still, always silent, and always watching. Mark's video is the closest anyone has come to capturing it. Case 3. The Tunnel Whispers of Point Briar. In West Virginia, urban explorer Caleb Morris ventured into the abandoned Point Briar drainage tunnels, a crisscrossing maze rumored to stretch beneath the old industrial sector. The tunnels were cold, echoing, and stained with decades of runoff. Halfway through his walk, Caleb paused. A sound, wet, faint, echoed behind him. A voice. A whisper. Not words. Not human. He swept his flashlight across the tunnel, and the beam flickered over the fog rolling above the water. The camera began to glitch, static slicing across the footage. Then something peeked from behind the wall. A small figure. Large eyes. Gone in an instant. Caleb thought he imagined it, but the camera didn't. And once the footage hit the internet, viewers spotted a second figure, standing in the fog behind him, motionless and tall. Caleb swears he was alone. But the tunnel says otherwise. The vanished, the watched, and the whispering dark. The night after Caleb posted his video, something strange happened across social media. People who lived near Point Briar began sharing their own experiences. Whispers outside their homes, footsteps in drainage tunnels, shapes standing at the edge of the woods. But the most disturbing reports didn't come from residents. They came from police officers. Case 4. The officer who spoke to someone no one else saw. Officer Ryan Delton was finishing his midnight patrol through Brookshire County when dispatch radioed in something simple. Routine perimeter sweep. Check the east gate. Motion sensors triggered twice. Ryan sighed. Probably a raccoon again. But by the time he reached the gate, he immediately realized this wasn't a normal call. The camera from his body cam shows him stopping at the chain-link fence, shining his flashlight down the empty walkway. The night air looked thick and blue, fog pooling around the ground like it didn't know where to drift. "Hello?" Ryan called. "Police. If someone's here, make yourself known." The flashlight flickered. Just once. Ryan frowned but kept walking. On the footage, viewers can see something Ryan didn't. A shadow gliding behind him, smooth and weightless, like a person walking without touching the ground. A female voice suddenly whispered, "Excuse me." Ryan froze. He turned toward the voice, nodding politely as if someone stood right in front of him. "Yes, ma'am? Can I help you?" Silence. The dispatcher's voice crackled through the radio. "Unit 3, do you copy? Who are you speaking with?" Ryan answered calmly, "A woman near the east gate. She's asking for the director. Says her name is Allison." A long pause. "Unit 3, there's no one on site. And Allison, she passed away in 1998. Ryan blinked, confused. He raised his flashlight and swept it across the walkway. No one. Nothing. Just the shifting fog. "Dispatch repeat," he said, now uneasy. "Ryan. Allison died 26 years ago. And you're alone." The body cam captured the moment Ryan understood, the moment his face drained of color. He staggered backward, breathing hard, whispering, "I just spoke to her. She was right here." But the camera's angle showed only empty air. When investigators reviewed the footage later, they noticed something chilling. A faint outline, a woman's silhouette, standing directly in front of Ryan for 1 second before fading. To this day, Ryan refuses to work the East Gate. Case 5. The Ghost Car of Harvest Lane. Harvest Lane was nothing special, a narrow stretch of road on the outskirts of Illinois, lined with old barns and overgrown ditches. Locals avoided it at night because the fog collected there like water in a bowl. At 2:17 a.m. on a cold autumn morning, Officer Jade Monroe spotted a silver sedan speeding dangerously fast through the fog. She flicked on her lights and gave chase. Her dashcam recorded everything perfectly. The sedan swerved but never slowed. Jade radioed in, "High-speed pursuit northbound. Request backup." The fog thickened. The sedan's taillights glowed like red eyes in the dark. As Jade closed the distance, the car abruptly jerked sideways and skidded into a shallow ditch. Jade could hear her own breathing as she stepped out, gun drawn, shouting at the driver to show their hands. But when she reached the window, there was no driver, no passenger, no footprints in the mud, and the doors were still locked. "Dispatch," she whispered shakily, "the vehicle is empty." But viewers who later watched the footage noticed something Jade never saw. A pale shape sitting in the driver's seat during the chase, slowly turning its head toward the dashcam before disappearing entirely. The video became one of the most analyzed pieces of paranormal road footage online. Some say the driver fled. Others say Jade hallucinated. But the camera doesn't hallucinate, and the shape in the seat was impossible to deny. Case 6, Screams in the Abandoned Schoolhouse. 2 officers in Blackridge, Ohio were sent to investigate reports of screams echoing from an abandoned elementary school scheduled for demolition. Neighbors claimed they heard children's laughter, skittering footsteps, and something heavy dragging across the halls. Officer Derek Shaw, leading the call, recorded as they approached the entrance. The inside was icy, though the night outside was warm. They moved down the hallway, one step at a time, their flashlights trembling over lockers still decorated with faded stickers. Then, from the darkness, tap, 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 like someone knocking. Rhythmic, steady. Derek called out, "If someone's in here, make yourself known." From behind a classroom door came the sound of children whispering. The officers exchanged a look. Derek pushed the door open. The classroom was empty. But every desk, every single one, was now facing the opposite direction from when they entered the building, as if turned by unseen hands in complete silence. And on the chalkboard, words appeared slowly, written stroke by stroke even though no one was holding the chalk. "Leave us alone." The officers left without hesitation. The night police stopped running. By the time these cases reached the public, the internet was already torn between fascination and disbelief. But the final string of encounters, the ones the police never meant to release, were different. They weren't short incidents, strange silhouettes, or isolated roadside horrors. They were warnings, and every officer involved felt the same chilling truth. Something is watching them and learning. Case 7. The Vanisher Behind the Patrol Car. Officer Helena Cruz had been a patrol officer for 13 years and considered herself unshakable. But the footage captured on December 12, 2024, changed her forever. Her dashcam shows her responding to a strange 911 call. "Caller, someone is standing in my backyard, but they're not moving, they're just staring at my window." When Helena arrived, the backyard looked empty. But then her body cam caught something. A tall, slender silhouette standing behind the patrol car's rear bumper, motionless. Helena didn't see it. The camera did. The figure stood there for 8 full seconds. No face. No features. Just darkness shaped like a person. Then, it slid sideways into the shadows as if melting into the night. The homeowner insisted they'd seen the figure earlier through the blinds, just standing still with its head slightly tilted. But when Helena checked the snow around the patrol car, there were no footprints. Not even one. The next morning, the homeowner found something carved into the frost on their window. "I saw you too." Case 8. The Tunnel Breather. It was almost 3 a.m. when Officers Grant and Lewis followed a report of echoing screams from the old sewer tunnels beneath oak pines. Kids were known to dare each other to go inside, but most came running out claiming to hear whispers. The officers stepped inside the tunnel, their flashlights barely piercing the blue haze floating just above the waterline. Their body cams recorded every uneasy breath. After 5 minutes, something exhaled behind them. A long, slow breath, loud enough that the audio spiked. Grant spun around. No one. Then the breath came again, this time from the ceiling. Lewis aimed his flashlight upward and almost dropped it. Finger marks, long, impossibly thin, were pressed into the moldy concrete, like something had dragged itself across the ceiling and followed them silently. The temperature plummeted. Their breaths fogged thick and white. Grant whispered, "We're not alone." The tunnel suddenly vibrated with hundreds of overlapping whispers, none distinguishable, all echoing at once. The officers backed out, boots splashing chaotically as the whispers crescendoed, chasing them toward the exit until everything abruptly stopped. When they reached daylight, the tunnel fell completely silent. Later, while reviewing the footage, the department noticed something terrifying. As the officers fled, a pale face appeared in the water's reflection, staring straight up at them from beneath the surface. Case 9. The hotel room they sealed forever. The old Crescent Hale Hotel had been closed for years after a fire left half the building charred. Only one room remained intact, room 313. People claimed you could hear knocking from inside even though the room was boarded shut. Officer Emma Price and Rookie Officer Darius Holt were sent to investigate after a trespasser reported someone crying behind the door. They arrived to find the hallway still smelling of burnt carpet and ash. Darius knocked. The crying stopped instantly. Then slowly, someone knocked back. 3 tap. Deliberate. Measured. Emma called out, "Police. If someone's inside, make a sound." The reply was a soft voice, too soft to belong to any adult. "Let me out." Emma's hand froze on her radio. "Dispatch, is this room supposed to be occupied?" "No. The hotel's been empty for 8 years." Darius stepped back, panic rising. "That sounded like a kid." Emma shined her flashlight along the boards. Something was etched into the wood, long scratch marks that had not been mentioned in any previous report. Then the peephole, covered in soot, flickered. Something moved behind it. A small eye peered out. But here is where the footage became infamous. The eye blinked sideways. Not up and down, sideways like the lid of a reptile. Emma whispered, "We're leaving." As they backed away, the voice behind the boards whispered, "Don't leave me with him." The officers bolted. That room has never been opened since. Case 10, the final call. 2 months later, the department received a 911 call from a blocked number. The dispatcher could barely hear the whisper, "Stop filming us." Before they could trace the call, it disconnected. But reviewing the officer's paranormal footage revealed something no one noticed before.